How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis, and we've got a new developer blog from the Old School RuneScape team. This is for the Wintertodt rewards. This developer blog is actually running through various questions they've got for content poll 46. This includes questions about the Wintertodt rewards, which, obviously, when you've got a big boss coming into the game, you need some interesting rewards, as well as the superior Slayer encounters, which I believe they discussed on the most recent developer Q&A, blast furnace updates, and a whole heap, and trust me, there is a lot of quality of life updates they'll be polling. So let's get straight into this with the Wintertodt rewards. But first, let's have a look at the backstory for the Wintertodt. The Wintertodt is a mysterious, incorporeal being. Years ago, it attacked the city of Great Korend, and now it's locked behind the doors of Din. The beast has remained dormant there for over 1,000 years. However, the enchantment cast upon the doors of Din to keep the Wintertodt at bay has started to fail. The safety of Great Korend is in the hands of the Archaeus mages, and they need all the help they can get to keep the Wintertodt imprisoned. So hopefully you're now raring to go and fight this being. However, you can't just use your regular combat stats because this creature is in an incorporeal form. To fight it, you're going to have to help channel the heat of the magic fires into the Wintertodt itself. You can do this by using various different skills, including agility, construction, farming, firemaking, fletching, herblore, and woodcutting, which makes it very unique in the fact that it's the first Old School RuneScape skilling boss, and I mean, I'm not super familiar with RuneScape 3, but potentially it could be the first skilling boss in all of the games. If you do manage to take down the Wintertodt, then you're going to get rewarded with experience in the skills you've used and a few additional rewards. So let's start off with the Pyromancer outfit. Like with many of the skilling outfits we've got in game, the Pyromancer outfit is a 4-piece outfit which gives you a small amount of bonus experience when firemaking. Each individual piece will give you a small amount of bonus experience, and wearing the full set will give you an additional 0.5% experience. So if you wear the full set, you'll be able to get 2.5% more experience. This will be an untradeable item that will come into game, and even Iron Men and Ultimate Iron Men will be able to use it. So the question they'll be asking will be, should the Pyromancer outfit, a 4-piece set which gives 2.5% experience boost to firemaking, be one of the potential rewards from the Wintertodt? I think this seems somewhat reasonable. They want firemaking to feature heavily with this boss, so it would make sense that they have firemaking as the reward, and that will give firemaking a little bit of a use, because plenty of people complain it's rather useless right at the moment. The thing I dislike is the fact that firemaking is actually incredibly fast and easy to bank, so having a bonus XP outfit kind of feels a bit redundant because it's such fast experience anyway. Next, the Tomb of Fire. Like God books, the Tomb of Fire is a book you can equip in your shield slot. It will provide +8 magic attack and defense, as well as 2 additional effects, which will be acting as unlimited fire runes, and increasing the maximum hit of your fire spells by 50%. The Tomb of Fire will actually be charged from pages earned from the Wintertodt. So one page will give the Tomb of Fire 20 charges, and 1 charge is lost every fire spell cast with the Tomb of Fire equipped. And the Tomb of Fire and the pages used to charge it will be tradable. So the question they'll be asking will be, should the Tomb of Fire be a potential reward from the Wintertodt? The Tomb of Fire will provide +8 magic attack and defense, can be charged to provide unlimited fire runes, and increases the max hit of fire spells by 50% when equipped. This seems like both a really powerful and quite balanced item. The reason I say it's balanced is we have so many fire runes in game that they are really not worth much. So having unlimited fire runes, something we've already got from staves, doesn't seem too powerful. However, the power to me is, number one, that the max hit of your fire spells will be increased by 50%, which I suppose at high levels isn't too much. However, at low levels, that will be particularly powerful. And the fact that this is an additional place for you to put runes. So you could have yourself a Tomb of Fire, a combined rune staff, such as the Mist one, the Mud one. Do we have a Dust one? I'm not too sure. But obviously there's 3 runes right there. And on top of that, you could have yourself a rune pouch, which takes 1 inventory space for 3 entire sets of runes. So using 3 spaces, you can hold so many runes that you might as well say that they are unlimited. And to me, I don't know whether I could deal with that. Moving on to the superior Slayer encounters. This was discussed in the most recent developer Q&A, where they were discussing having superior monster encounters, which I believe RuneScape 3 has implemented recently. For Old School RuneScape, they want to tailor it for Slayer, which is quite a nice little feature. So, the superior Slayer encounters will mix Slayer up a little bit by introducing slightly stronger versions of monsters that you're assigned to kill, with some unique mechanics. As well as that, when you kill a superior Slayer monster, you'll get 3 rolls in the drop table of the standard monster. This feature will actually be a reward for the Slayer Point reward shop, costing 150 Slayer points, and once you've unlocked it, you can toggle it on or off depending on if you prefer it or not. As well as that, if you do get a superior Slayer encounter, you're the only one that can attack it. No one else can attack it, and potentially they might not even be able to see it. The monsters they want to add superior Slayer encounters to are the standard Slayer monsters, including the Crawling Hand, the Cave Crawler, the Banshee, the Rock Slug, the Cockatrice, the Pyre Fiend, the Basilisk, the Infernal Mage, the Bloodveld, the Mutated Bloodveld, the Jelly, the Warped Jelly, the Cave Horror, the Aberrant Spectre, the Deviant Spectre, the Dust Devil, the Krask, the Gargoyle, the Necrol, the Greater Necrol, the Abyssal Demon, the Dark Beast, and the Smoke Devil. So, when it comes to the poll, they'll be asking, should superior Slayer encounters be unlockable for 150 points from Slayer Masters? Superior Slayer encounters are higher level versions of Slayer monsters which have a slim chance of appearing during a task. Players who kill superior Slayer encounters will receive the equivalent of 3 drops from the normal Slayer monster. Once unlocked, the Slayer encounters will be toggleable. I'm a fan of this. I like the idea of having a chance at killing a slightly better version of a monster for slightly more reward. I think it's good that they've tailored this for Slayer. However, if you kill one, you're just going to be getting 1 Slayer kill, which depending on the monster you'll probably prefer or won't prefer because you have to go through your Slayer tasks slower. However, it does help spice the skill up a little bit, and hopefully, depending on the monster and the drop you get, it could be quite rewarding. So I'm looking forward to see if this passes its poll or not. Next, the Blast Furnace NPCs. On World 358, the official Blast Furnace world, they would like to add a couple of dwarves to help with the running of the minigame for a small cost. They will be adding 3 dwarves, one for peddling the conveyor belt, one for shoveling the coke, and one for operating the pump. Each of these dwarves will charge 10 coins per server cycle, meaning that if you want to employ them for an entire hour, it will cost you 60,000 coins. While the dwarves are doing these tasks, players won't be able to tamper with them, meaning that the game can no longer be sabotaged. So the question you'll be asking will be, should 3 dwarves be added to the Blast Furnace on World 358, who will pedal the conveyor belt, operate the pump, and shovel the coke? Players would not be able to disrupt the running of the furnace on this world. Using the Blast Furnace on the world will cost 60,000 coins per hour. Now I'm a little bit confused as the question and the description, to me, I read differently. The question makes it sound like the dwarves are always on the pumps, the pedals, and shoveling the coke, and all you have to do is pay 60,000 coins an hour to utilise the Blast Furnace. Whereas I originally read this as, you go to the dwarves to employ them for 60,000 coins an hour, and then they'll go and do their jobs. I've got a feeling it's actually going to be what the question implied, which was, the dwarves are always on the Blast Furnace, and to use the Blast Furnace you're going to have to pay 60,000 coins an hour. In that situation, I really dislike this solution for getting rid of the saboteurs. Think about lower level players. They go there now because it's quite a cheap solution in doing smithing. So enforcing a cost of 60,000 coins an hour seems a bit superficial to me. I understand that the other worlds won't have these dwarves, and you could go on those worlds and do Blast Furnace. However, getting a populated world where a lot of people are actually participating in it will actually be a struggle. I think there's definitely better solutions to fixing this than what there currently is. For example, on popular worlds, or potentially just World 358, you can make it that you can only have a set amount of time on the pumps, the pedals, and shoveling the coke. So I'm not really a huge fan of this update. Finally, we've got the other news, and there is a lot of them, so let's get through these. Should 2 free-to-play worlds be converted to skill total worlds, requiring 750 plus and 1000 plus total level to use? If these came into the game, free-to-play players that have 750 and 1000 plus total levels would use these, and I think they would really benefit from the slightly quieter worlds with less bots. Should hit splats of other players be tinted a slightly different colour to make it clear when hits are yours? This feature will be toggleable. This is something similar to what they polled the other week, where your hit splats were going to be tinted a slightly different colour. Should clicking a Grand Exchange history entry create a buy offer for the selected item? Something I think would be very useful for players that use the Grand Exchange a lot. Should the Barbarian Assault Queen kill count limit be increased from 15 to 40? Something I think they changed from like 5 to 15 not too long ago. However, if it helps Barbarian Assault, I don't see any huge reasons not to do this. Should the big delay on the Barbarian Assault dispensers be removed? I'm not a huge fan of removing that. It's something that's been there as far as I'm aware since day one. Should it be possible to fletch logs above the normal tier into arrow shafts? Each tier would provide you with a number of arrow shafts equal to the level required to fletch the logs plus 15. So oak logs will give you 30, willow will give you 45, etc. Which I would say seems reasonable. Should the Ring of the Gods and the Ring of the Gods Eye be buffed to provide more prayer bonus? The Ring of the Gods will provide a plus 4 prayer bonus, and the Ring of the Gods Eye will provide a plus 8 prayer bonus. Which, for the Ring of the Gods is 1, and the Ring of the Gods Eye is 2 more than they currently offer. I believe this will allow the ring to compete with the Ring of Suffering a little bit more, and if I can remember correctly, they were originally planning on having this for the ring when it was released. So it could work out okay. Should it be possible to add the key for the Dark Beast Cave to the key ring? Something that would seem a bit of a no-brainer. Should an agility shortcut between the Nature Grotto and the nearby Fairy Ring be added, making going to the Nature Grotto a whole lot easier? Should a quick start option be added to the ladder used to enter Barbarian Assault, making it a lot easier to get into the room that you want to go to, and hopefully not making the entire lobby redundant? Should Watson be added to the NPC contact spell? He'll be able to let you know which clues he's currently holding. Should Slayer Masters let you know if you'll need a piece of equipment from their shop to complete the tasks they've just assigned you? Should an NPC who grinds items, which would normally be ground to dust using a pestle and mortar, be added to Zaya? He'll charge 50 coins per item he grinds. This is something I'm questioning a little bit. I suppose it'll depend how he does it. Can he do it in noted form, how close he is to a bank, etc. Should it be possible to cut cat eye for water with any slash item instead of just knives? Something I would support. It would make going into the desert so much nicer. Should it be possible to purchase an infinite camulet from Lazim for 1 million coins? Something I'm not a huge fan of because it has decent teleports in it. Potentially increase the number of teleports it has from 4 to 8 or 10, but not infinite. Should it be possible to charge the Ring of Suffering using Rings of Recoil? The Ring of Suffering would have a limit of 100,000 recoil charges, which is 2,500 Rings of Recoil, and will provide the same recoil effect whilst charged. The Ring of Suffering would not degrade into dust once it runs out of charges, and it would just be uncharged. Something I think is incredibly overpowered. I think originally I was up for having the Ring of Recoil effect on Rings of Suffering, and charging it with Rings of Recoil is quite nice. However, the Ring of Suffering is quite powerful at the moment, so adding more to it seems too much for me. Should it be possible to own all Family Crest Gauntlets simultaneously for a one-off fee of 500,000 coins? Something I'm not a huge fan of. However, with the high cost, I think it's not too badly balanced. Should the number of gem rocks found in the underground gem rock mine be increased? Which I think will probably be something that mostly Iron Men would benefit from rather than regular players. Should charter ships have separate stocks for each port, making it a lot easier if you want to go around buying things at charter ship locations? Should it be possible to claim a free skill cape hood if you're in possession of the skill cape? Something I would support. However, then you've got to address the issue of should it be possible to claim a free skill cape if you're in possession of the hood? And I think if you're going to think about all the possibilities, it's going to get way too complicated. And in those situations, you might as well just drop the hood and buy a new skill cape. It's not like they're massively expensive, especially when you've got a 99 as a skill. Should the Fremnik achievement diary task to mine gold ore in the Arzinian mine include the version of the mine visited during Between a Rock, and not just the version following the completion of the quest? Meaning that you'll be able to do the achievement diary whilst doing the quest as opposed to after finishing the quest. Something I wouldn't mind if the mine is quite literally classified as the Arzinian mine. However, if it is a completely separate mine that you unlock at the end of the quest, then I don't think this should happen. However, this question is making me think it's probably the first one there. Should it be possible to get multiple salve shards? Should a shortcut be added to the crystals found within the Haunted Mine? This shortcut would only be usable following the completion of the Haunted Mine quest. Should a teleport to follow the bard be added as a perk for the music cape of achievement? Something I think is quite funny, and I probably support that being added to the game. Should stores which sell jugs also sell packs of 100 jugs? Something that will probably be quite useful. However, I imagine probably Iron Men are the main ones that would benefit from this. Should the Staff of the Dead be able to autocast Crumble Undead? Something that makes a little bit of sense because it's a Staff of the Dead and the Crumble Undead spell's powerful against undead creatures. However, it feels a bit weird just randomly adding this autocast to the staff we've had in game for so long. Should the rogue equipment earned by playing the Rogue's Den mini-quest give anyone wearing the full set double loot when pickpocketing? The standard amount of experience would still be given. This seems incredibly powerful. I don't really have a huge issue with it having a chance of increasing the amount of loot you get, but having 100% double loot seems incredibly powerful. Should the NPCs who allow you to start the temple trekking mini-quest have a right-click escort option which allows you to start quickly? Should the deposit box be added to the Shiloh Village underground gem rock mine? This seems incredibly overpowered. If they do this, I think they might as well just start adding banks and deposit boxes to every skilling location in the game. Should the back gate of the Wizard Guild be opened, making it a little bit easier to pass in and out and just traverse around Yano? Should it be possible to pay farmers to cut down fruit trees? Something you can do with regular trees and will be very useful if you could do it with fruit trees. Should a toggle be added to the bank options interface which allows you to hide the bank worn items button? I believe they polled something not too long ago where they were moving the buttons around so people wouldn't accidentally click this. I thought that was ridiculous to move it just for people who are terrible at clicking in game, which for a point and click game is quite funny. However, having the option of toggling if it's visible or not is a decent solution to this problem. And finally, Pyramid Plunder rooms contain 4 doors, one of which allows you to progress to the next room. This door is random and every so often it's changed. Should the final door you check always allow you to progress, even if it's changed? For the last time today, yes, I think that'll be quite a good update. I can imagine it's a pain in the arse if you go around checking all 4 doors and none of them are actually the door that allow you to progress. Obviously people that have used Pyramid Plunder a lot know this pain. They might be a little bit concerned about people being able to sort of go through Pyramid Plunder without the problems they had. However, if they didn't have to encounter these problems originally, I'm sure they would love this to be added. So this has been quite a large developer blog with not many huge updates and just a whole heap of smaller quality of life updates. Obviously we've also had the Wintertodt rewards, the superior Slayer encounters and the Blast Furnace NPCs to discuss. I think in general this entire developer blog is great and I can't wait to see the majority of it in game. The biggest thing I'm questioning is probably the Blast Furnace NPCs, and I am questioning some of the other smaller updates. For example, having unlimited charges on your Camulet. I suppose we'll just have to see how they fare in the poll. If you want to discuss any of the suggested updates in this developer blog, please go on the forums or do so in my comments below. Tell me if you're looking forward to the Wintertodt. I think it could be quite interesting because it's a skilling boss. However, I hope they implement it correctly, otherwise it could blow back on itself a little bit there. Click here for my video on the latest Old School RuneScape news post, third-party clients. And if you want to watch my video on the latest Old School RuneScape update, please click here for the last man standing. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the Old School RuneScape updates, DevBlogs and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.